We're focusing on a critical topic for your Texas real estate exam, the mandatory use of TREC promulgated forms. The entire reason the Texas Real Estate Commission, or TREC, requires these standardized forms is for public protection. By mandating specific forms for most residential transactions, TREC ensures legal consistency, reduces disputes, and most importantly, prevents license holders from the unauthorized practice of law. You are a real estate agent, not an attorney. And drafting a contract from scratch is a fast way to get into serious trouble. Using these forms keeps you and your clients safe. The exam will expect you to know the different categories of forms. You have the main contracts, like the 1 to 4 family residential contract resale, which is the bedrock of most deals. Then you have addenda, which are used to add terms to a contract before it's signed, like the third-party financing addendum. Amendments, on the other hand, are used to change terms on a contract that is already executed. A common exam question might present a scenario where a closing date needs to be moved after everyone has signed. You would use an amendment for that, not an addendum. You'll also encounter notices for formal communication, resale certificates for properties in an HOA, and temporary leases for when a buyer or seller needs to occupy the property for a short time before or after closing. Now for the most critical exam point. When you must use these forms, the rule is simple. If a TREC promulgated form exists for the transaction type, a license holder must use it. There is no negotiating this. The exam will try to trick you with questions, suggesting you can use a different form if your broker prefers it or if a client asks for something slightly different. The answer is no. If TREC has a form for it, you must use it. However, the exam loves to test the exceptions to this rule. A license holder is not required to use a promulgated form in a few specific situations. First, if a property owner prepares their own contract. Second, if an attorney prepares a contract and is required by a principal to the transaction. Third, when a U.S. government agency requires a different form to be used. And finally, if there is no TREC form for that specific type of transaction. An attorney-prepared form is appropriate. For example, TREC does not promulgate listing agreements or most commercial contracts, so other forms are used for those. To remember these exceptions on the exam, use this simple phrase: agents are protected when government has no form. Agents refers to you acting as a principal, R for attorney prepared, protected for property owner prepared, government for government-required forms, and no form for when no TREC form exists. The exam will present a scenario, such as a seller who is an attorney insisting on using their own custom contract. This is a valid exception, and you should know that. Don't get tripped up by the distinction between